This is a tough subject to talk about. But I feel like I'm out here talking about this quite often anymore. And once is too many, in my opinion. So we had a gentleman. I happened to be in a place where this guy was calling and talking to another friend of mine and asking for his opinion on what might be going on with his amplifier. He was stating to my friend that there was a hum when he transmits, and there might have been some conversation that had been had to where he had called his tech, and the tech wasn't going to be able to look at it quick enough for this guy, and he wanted to go and talk on the radio, and so he's trying to figure it out on his own. And from what I understand, there was no safety circuits in his box, no fuse whatsoever, and he got bit by the high voltage and sat there, which is a horrible death if you think about it. I mean, it's totally horrible if you think about it. The high voltage is either going to disable your ability to breathe by stopping your diaphragm from being able to move underneath your lungs. It's going to cause you to go into cardiac arrest. Either way, you're awake the whole time. Everybody thinks I got this little note up here as a joke. I do not. Some of the things, this note here, some of the things that we work on this workbench will kill you the entire time while you're dying. So I want you, and I'm describing it to you in this very aggressive, very flamboyant detail for a reason. I work on a lot of things on video on this channel. And for the sake of saving you guys 3 and 4 hours of watching me slowly bleed high voltage off and short things out and ground things out, I'll take and I'll point at things. Well, camera does not show field of depth, right? So my hands can be 2-3 feet away from what I'm pointing at, and you guys don't know. I have begged, I have pleaded, I have implored, and I have told you guys over and over and over again, and I'm going to keep doing YouTube videos like this until nobody decides they're going to electrocute themselves. Listen, you guys, high voltage does not care about you, your bills, your wife, your children, your grandchildren, your house payment, your car payment, your credit card payments, the future you're leaving your children. None of that. It does not care. It's just trying to find the easiest path to ground so it can complete the circuits and the electrons can flow from ground to hot. It doesn't care about you. Rule number 1 is if we're going to work on something with high voltage in it, it's got to be unplugged. Rule number 2 is we do not trust the meters on the front of the amplifiers. We verify. This is a Tenma, Tenma. This is a 40 kV, 100 to 1 high voltage reduction probe. The sheer length of the distance between here, the surface area distance, by the way, to here is what keeps me alive when you see me stick one of these inside of an amp. I verify with a high volt probe. Then I ground and I neutralize. This is my chicken stick. I've got another friend of mine that thinks it's funny. He laughs about it, but it makes me cry on the inside because I kind of like the guy, but you can't make people do anything more than what they want to do. You clip this to the cabinet. Then you take your hand away from the equation, you put it in your pocket, and then you take the nice little squishy bit and you put it all over everything inside the amplifier. And while this is in the amp, then you take and you short the physical connection of high voltage from the top of the tubes to the case. You leave it in there while your hands are in there. I think this gentleman got himself in a hurry And, well, the thing was on, and it didn't have fuses. Not that the fuses would have necessarily saved his life, because that's debatable, and it most likely wouldn't have, but it was a safety circuit. In the stupid attempt to try and get every single frickin' watt out of these damn boxes, there are builders out there that don't use fuses on the primary side, that's the input side of the high volt transformer, and the secondary side. And they might put a breaker off on a wall someplace, but they don't even have a fuse on the secondary side, nor do they even have a glitch resistor, which, how you employ the glitch resistor can either help protect some of your components, but in most cases, like SP220s, Drakes, and that kind of thing, you have a glitch resistor, so if there is a problem, that resistor gives up its life and cuts the high voltage off. They eliminate all of these things. Well, the gentleman that passed away wrote it till the very end. And in the same weekend, we had another guy shock himself as well. There's a few rules that come into play when working with high voltage. Only put one hand in your project at a time. That's when it's unplugged, discharged, verified, and grounded. You only want to work one hand at a time in the box. This other hand, work with this one. Let's say you're right-handed, you work with this one. Put this one in your frickin' pocket. I want you to see this. This is my beautiful titanium wedding ring. Right here. It lives right there on my workbench. I wear a rubber band. Is the symbol worth my life? This is my very nice Luminox. All metal, stainless steel dive watch. Love this watch. It has been so long since I've worn it that it's actually an inconvenience to put it on my wrist anymore. If you have chains around your neck, around your wrists, or any other metal on your body, remove them. If you have long hair, pull it back in a ponytail with multiple rubber bands on it so nothing can fall into the cabinet that you are working in. Always, always treat these amplifiers like they want to kill you, because they do. There's a whole bunch of rules that are written down in a URL handbook, or pardon me, UL listed handbook on how to work with high voltage. Did you know that at the front end of our tuning capacitors, once you approach a certain kV in an amplifier, you're supposed to have an insulative rod. And depending on your high voltage, you should have 3 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, depending on the high voltage that's present. We don't do that in our world. I don't know why, but you should. Let's say you have a vacuum capacitor. Same thing. There should be an insulating shaft that attaches to this that goes out to the front of the cabinet. Just in case this thing decides it's going to fail. No jewelry whatsoever. I could put pictures in here right now of people that have literally burnt their entire finger completely off from the metal. They stuck their hand in something, shorting this thing and then welding itself to the cabinet, and you cannot remove this from your finger. Now you are part of the circuit and you're alive. Some of these amplifiers that we have, like the one I went and worked on here a few weeks ago, well, the two I went and worked on a few weeks ago, we're talking 9,500 volts at the anode of the tube, and on the top tap of the power supply it's 5 amps. Where we ended up running it was in the middle of the transformer, so it was closer to 7 or 8 amps. That's going to suck you in, and you are never going to be able to pull yourself off of that. Your muscles will contract, it's going to pull you into the thing, and it's going to continue pushing. By the time I left, it had a minimum of a glitch resistor in it. It had dual, because it's a garbage, it's a two-piece amplifier. Two-piece amplifiers are the most dangerous things in the world, by the way. Had dual voltmeters, top and bottom. Fuse that was underfused, okay? And the fuse was ran to another relay that ran back to the contactors. So if the fuse popped, the contactors came off, the plate transformer, primary shuts off. That means the secondary becomes dead through the bleeders. The bare minimum, y'all, we're losing guys from this left and right. And the main point behind this video is for me to once again say to all of you in YouTube land, do not stick your hands where you wouldn't stick your dick. To make it so that you can stick your dick in the hole. No jewelry. Disconnected. Amplifier disconnected. Verify through a second source. Don't trust the meter on the front. Through a second source with a high volt probe, verify that the high voltage is gone. Neutralize. And while neutralize, ground. It takes forever to work on some of this stuff. And I'm here to tell you, if you have a hum in your amplifier when you're transmitting, your high voltage filter cap is breaking down, and that's the whole problem, and you need to have the thing off anyhow. Having it on and trying to find a hum with the case open and completing the circuit with your body. Always treat a high voltage circuit like it's live. Always. Always. It's just like a gun. You don't know the condition of that firearm until you pick it up and verify yourself. Always treat a firearm like it's loaded until you know differently. Always make sure and treat an amplifier like it's discharged until you know differently. Our hearts go out for the family and the friends and all the people that were left behind because somebody got in a hurry, and it's sad. Very tragic and sad. Please be cautious. High voltage is like a dragon. It just wants to eat you. And it doesn't care anything about you. And it will hurt the entire time while you die. Gentlemen, I appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you.